Marvin Sapp. Marvin Sapp reminds me why I don't go to church anymore. Marvin Sapp reminds me why I don't do religious institution. He reminds me why I don't do religious institution. The moment that you get up and tell the congregation or say before the congregation by telling the usher to close the door until he get $40,000 from the congregation, that's where the problem comes in. This man reminds me why I don't go to church anymore. Because there's no way somebody gonna pay you $40,000. I mean, people understand these religious institutions operate like a business, especially the church. The church is a major business. The church itself is a major business. All these mega churches that you see, it's a business thing. It's not about God. It's not about saving the soul of people. It's about a business. And these gospel singers, they're not very authentic. Their thing turns into like a secular concert. These people are trying to be so mainstream. These people are not looking to save a soul or save a damn thing. As long as they get money, that's all they care about. These people don't care about your soul. These people don't care about you. Marvin Sapp showed that he didn't give a damn. He does not care about the people that's in the congregation, the people that's attending to listen to his music and all of that shit. Marvin Sapp don't care. Instead of saying never could have made it, he should have been saying never should have got paid. Change the song never would have made it to never would have paid it. Cause bro, you would never got paid. Those people should have walked up out that church. The moment you talking about $40,000, them folks should have ran up out of there. They should have trumped over the ushers to get to the door. They should have just got there and ran up out that door. The moment you talking about some $40,000. And let me tell y'all something. The real church, if you guys actually read the Bible, the real church is not an institution. Okay? The real church is the body of a people. The body of the people represent the church. The real church was not a building. During that time, our ancestors had prayer houses. They had invisible churches. And peace to everybody in the chat. Hello, everybody. How y'all doing? But our ancestors didn't have churches. They had praise houses, but for those that was slaves on the plantation, it was no church. It was called the invisible church. And their congregation was on the plantation. Their congregation was coming together around the campfire and having a fellowship, praise and worship. That's how they fellowship. It wasn't no institution. That came later. That came after slavery. But during that time period, wasn't no church building. It wasn't no church building. Our ancestors gathered together around a campfire or in the woods somewhere or somewhere on the plantation. They were fellowship. But now these damn religious institutions all about profit. It's all about money, a money scheme. So people get into these churches to make money. People get into these religious institutions to make money. So I don't know why too many people are surprised about Marvin Sapp behavior and what he said. Because I'm not very surprised about it. I laughed. Because the man is a damn fool. The man is a damn fool. Then you want to know why a lot of young people don't want to go to church. They know their pastor is full of crap. They know the usher is full of crap. The deacon is full of it. The choir director, he like to try to mess with little boys. The musician trying to see if he can get some little girls up in his bedroom. The pastor is messing around with members in the congregation. They know that the church is full of crap. And last time I checked, the Bible speak about tithing. The offerings is something that the church came up with. Because what I read in the Bible, it says you only give 10% of your tithing. You're supposed to give 10%. Not go around here having people giving more than what they got. And then the sad part about it is the same church that people go to, right? You're not going to find out these pastors. They're not going to really reach out to you. They're not going to really help your family. If something go wrong, if your lights get cut off, they'll tell you pray about it. You pray about it, but ain't nobody come to save you to get your light cut back on. And if you do, it ain't going to be somebody from the church. It might be somebody in the neighborhood. I had a lady that I used to stay next door to. And she told me that she was in a situation that she needed help with her bills or something. Now, this is a crazy story. Watch this. She said, when she called the church up, one of the members picked up the phone. I think it was a secretary. And the lady asked her, was she's a current member of the church? She said, no, I haven't been there in a while. She said, well, if you're not an active member of this particular church, then you cannot receive help. You have to be an active member. Otherwise, we cannot help you. Whoa. So you telling a woman who have not been to church in a while that she cannot receive financial help after she done tithe, after she been giving donation, she can't receive help. Imagine that. It's sad. But getting back to what I was saying, the church itself, the actual concept of church was invisible. It was not an institution. It was a body of people that fellowship. That was the church. A body of people coming together to fellowship. And then a lot of people been sold pipe dreams by their pastors. They was looking for hope until they was met with more evil. They thought by going to church that they were going to be saved, or by going to any religious institution that they were going to be saved. But they was getting played. Now, it's no shade to my Christian family out there. If you still involved, then it's cool. That's great. You still involved in the church, but be careful. This is why you got to keep your eyes open and be mindful of individuals around you. Yeah, somebody coming up in there with their Sunday best. Be careful. Be careful what places that you go to. Be careful. Be mindful of these individuals that you think that are men and women of God. Because they're not. They're not the man of God. They're not women of God. That's not always the case. Be careful. The church is nothing more than a circus. Most of them, not all of them. Most of them are a bunch of circus, especially these mega churches. They're a bunch of circus. Now, there's a few people that I respect. There's a few people that I like to listen to here and there. But overall, it's a bunch of circus. It's a bunch of circus. Most churches are operating as a circus. Most churches are operating as a bunch of entertainment. It's not about revitalizing the soul. Hell, I'd rather go to the Buddhist temple and meditate. Or I'd rather go to I'd rather go to a place where they deal with focusing on your chakras and do some meditation. I'd rather go through the healing process of doing that. I'd rather spend more time there. I'd rather go to a coffee shop and give me some nice tea and eat me a little coffee cake or something and be at a meditation like that. I'd rather do that than to sit up in the church all day. Then they want to keep you there for 6 or 7 hours because you got another visiting church coming through. I'll never forget a church that I used to go to a long time ago. I ain't gonna put the name out there because I still respect the pastor. I was actually baptized in the church. There was a big old uproar. That was taking place because one of the pastors had retired and stepped down. And so there was pastors coming from various churches preaching or whatnot because they couldn't find a pastor to come in and take over. Let me show you how crazy it is. So one pastor was chosen to become the pastor of the church. And the folks had a holy roly fit about it. The people had a holy roly fit. They was going in. They was going crazy. Oh no, we don't want this pastor. Nah, we don't want this pastor. The devil is a liar. People was going off about it. So eventually that pastor had to go. And then the next pastor stepped in, who happened to be the son of the original pastor of the church. Now, I do appreciate the opportunity that I have as far as gain some form of experience. But I realize the church is not the building. The church is yourself. You are the temple. Because when you know God, you know yourself. The church starts with you. The temple is you. When you know God, you know yourself. And I don't think people actually read the Bible thoroughly. If you actually read the Bible thoroughly, you will understand that the concept is dealing with Christ consciousness. And those stories were based on stories by different people. Some were prophets, some were accountants. They each was given their own story about their relationship with God. So the first 5 books of the Bible is called the Torah, which is also known as the Tanakh. Okay? So the first 5 book of Moses, that's what they call it, are consists of stories from the prophets themselves and from Moses. So to be a prophet means to be a person who can prophesize, who can foreshadow things, who can predict things. That's what it means to be a prophet. So these people was given their account of their relationship with God and what they witnessed. Okay? And then when you read into the New Testament, right? The New Testament gives an account about Jesus. All right, so each individual had their own personal account with Jesus. So at the end of the day, what you understand is God is a reflection of you. You are the reflection of God. God is a reflection of you. You are the reflection of God. That's all it means. If you don't go back and read Genesis very closely, let us make man in the likeness of our image. Let us make man in the likeness of our image. That means you have been made in the likeness of God. You are God in the flesh, right? You are the reflection of God. God operates within you. God operates within your conscience. That's where God is going to begin at, right there in your conscience. That's where your church is starting at, right there at your body, your temple, before you step foot into the building. Somebody put the Tanakh and the Torah are not the same. The Torah is a subset of the Tanakh. The first 5 book of the Tanakh. Okay. My mistake. You're right. The Torah is the subset, which is the first 5 book of the Tanakh. Okay. So the first 5 book is considered as the Torah, which is the first 5 book of Moses. All right. And the Tanakh is the book. So I have a Tanakh. All right. I have the Tanakh because I used to be a Hebrew Israelite at one point in time. So I got Tanakh. And I have a Bible. And I have the Quran and whatnot. But yeah, you have to build a relationship with yourself. Because if you look to other people to build relationship with yourself, right, then you're gonna become codependent. And that's the worst thing you want to do. You don't want to become codependent. Because then you start seeing yourself through the eyes of other people. You have to build relationship with yourself. And once you build a relationship with yourself, then you can be able to get into a space where you can be able to be around those who are like-minded, those who are going to help you to navigate in the world. But you got to have that relationship with yourself. So stop looking to your pastor as somebody that's going to give you all the answer. Stop doing that. You got to look within yourself. Now, it's good to listen to a good word here too. You can take the message, but you're going to have to leave the messenger. Take the message that is valuable, that is meaningful in your life, but you got to leave the messenger. Because if you keep on following the messenger, you're not going to be able to learn how to be a leader. You're not going to learn how to lead yourself. You don't want to be the follower. You want to be the leader in the making. Again, you don't want to continue to be a follower. You want to learn how to be a leader in the making. Or otherwise, you're going to be like the people that's up in that church following Marvin Sapp talking about $40,000 and telling the ushers to close the doors until you get $40,000. You're going to be just like those people sitting up in that church, listen to a pastor like Marvin Sapp talking about $40,000. Telling telling people that if they don't pay $40,000, they ain't going nowhere. That's not what you want to go to. That's not the route that you want to take. You could take the message, but you gotta leave the messenger. Here, I'd rather be at some class, listening to somebody talking about chakras all day and kundalinis. You know what? I'm gonna recommend a book to y'all. Cause see, I like to recommend stuff to people. No, it's in here. Let me trying to get it out. Here's this book right here. Um, One of my personal favorite people that I like to read about is by Alan Watts. It's called Behold the Spirit, a study in the necessity of mystical religion. So if you guys have not got a chance to, y'all need to get this book or y'all need to read his materials. Watch his lecture on YouTube. He does a thorough job at breaking down spirituality and understand mysticism, Gnosticism, esoteric knowledge. This man does a good job with this in his book. Now, he was a Taoist, I believe. Yeah, he was a Taoist, but he studied many schools of thoughts and he was able to understand. Let me see. I was gonna pick up some. I'm trying to find something, a good example. All right, so I'm gonna read something that he said. He said, to understand the spiritual needs of modern man, we must consider in some detail the successive phases of our own West European American culture, which at present seem to be at the close of its physical maturity. We have to see what are the factors in our life rhythm and the elements in the modern situation that seem to lead up to a second religiousness, and what in terms of our rich tradition of Catholic Christianity the character of this era is likely to be. Why are there grounds for believing that in this phase Christianity will have a primarily mystical emphasis, quite apart from the fact that this is the only thing which might possibly revive and even unify the church in Western civilization? Why, again, is it possible that this particular development in Western Christianity may constitute an epoch of the first importance in the whole evolution of Christian life and thought? That's a good question. Why? Why? Why do we think that? If you understand that you have Christ consciousness, right? Why would you depend on an institution to give you all the answer when you can find the answer within? When you can just go and do the shadow work for yourself. Hmm? I want you guys to also look into integral psychology. That's deal with spiritual experiences, right? From a psychology standpoint, it's a branch of transparent psychology, which is spiritual psychology. So if you guys get a chance to look into those things, also look at neurotheology, the concept of God, and how that has an influence on a person's brain activity. So yeah, look up neurotheology and look up integral psychology slash transpersonal psychology. All right. And another thing, don't get fooled by people like Marvin Sapp. Marvin Sapp need to be slapped. Marvin Sapp need to be slapped. Somebody should have slapped the shit out of him. The moment he said $40,000, somebody should have whacked his ass. Hell, I'd rather listen to Bobby Hemmett. I'd rather sit there and be entertained by Bobby Hemmett, because Bobby Hemmett will make more sense than this guy. I bet you Bobby Hemmett didn't charge no $40,000 for people to come and listen to his lecture, which was 8 hours or 11 hours. I'd rather sit back and listen to Bobby Hemmett all day, because at least he was a great storyteller. I'm just saying. But anyways, you all, that's my thought for the evening. Thank you guys for tuning in, watching. Until next time, peace and power and elevation. Again, do not let anybody fool you. Do not be a fool. Do not let anybody tell you that you got to come out your pockets because they money hungry just to listen to them sing some songs that you can go listen to on YouTube Music, Spotify, Pandora. You can download his music on Pandora, Spotify, YouTube, or Apple Tunes or whatever. You can listen to his music that way. You ain't gotta pay that man no damn $40,000. Hell, you can get affirmation by listening to it online. You can listen to it for free on YouTube. You can listen to it for free on Pandora, on Spotify. All right. But peace, y'all. And I would stay connected with you all later. So be safe. All right. Thank you.